So first off, I want to just thank everyone for all their questions. We had a lot of questions, which is a great way to start a community of practice because everyone's invested. And what the questions showed me more than anything is that people are really trying to do PDIA. You're really trying because you're coming up with questions that are from your experience. One of the questions that was asked in different ways by a number of people was, how do we sell the idea of a problem-driven, iterative approach to authorizers who are used to solution-driven change? It's a really, really big problem. We live in a development community and in a public policy community that is really focused on solutions and that is impatiently focused on solutions. You know, when we work in the field, we often find administrative staff or policy staff will say, you know, the politicians just want the answer yesterday. And they want the answer to be announced yesterday and to be achieved yesterday, and they want the solutions as quickly as possible. And so it's really hard for us to go to them and say, we want to have a conversation about the problems, ma'am. And we want to spend some time breaking the problem down and getting to the root cause of the problem. And they say, well, that sounds like it's going to take a long time, just give us the solution. So I'm going to give you a couple of the ideas that we have to manage this situation because we ourselves run into it. The first one is that I think you need to find authorizers with an itch. What do I mean? I mean, your authorizers need to recognize that they actually have a problem that they actually have to solve. Because sometimes the focus on solutions is more a focus on an answer today that I can sell to the public. And many, many times people will be looking for that answer because they know that they need something in the short term more than a real solution to the problem. But sometimes you'll find authorizers who have been dealing with the problem for long enough that just giving people an answer today is not sufficient anymore. They realize that the problem is real, they realize that the problem is serious, and they realize that actually whatever the course of action they support, it must lead to a solution. And they realize also that the past approach of just write a policy paper and just tell me what to do won't get you. They realize that there's going to be politics. They realize that there's capacity constraints. They realize that the ideas that went before didn't work and that they don't know what to do today. If you can find a policymaker who has an itch like that, they're probably also going to have a higher level of patience and they're going to have a higher level of acceptance of novelty, which is what PDIA is. It's a novel approach to doing things. So try and find that itch for the policymaker that'll hold them into that place a little bit more, or try and even cultivate it by speaking up to them about the truth. When they say, just tell us what to do, to say, but ma'am, that was done before. That's been done 3 times over the last 10 years. We've had policy papers. We've had solutions. We've had external consultants. They didn't work. We need to now go back into the problem to understand why they didn't work and to really, really pay attention to it. Make the case by constructing the problem as to why it matters. Why it matters that you actually get to the heart of this rather than just paying lip service to it. Another strategy could be to show the policymakers that this approach is not actually crazy and it's not actually new. When we present PDIA to many people, we usually get 2 responses in the same room at the same time. Half of the people will say, this looks crazy and new and it looks like we can never ever do it. And half of the people will say, you guys are from Harvard and you come up with something that is really just common sense? You know, there's nothing special about this. Now, I think with authorizers, if you take that second approach and you say to them, you know, ma'am, this may be different, but it's not crazy. This is actually the way we achieve things in everyday life. Think about how you raise your children. Think about how you built your career. Think about how you achieved your status as being minister. It probably wasn't by getting a policy prescription from some consultant somewhere and then just acting on it. It was more by trying things, learning as you went along, really understanding your problem, iterating, and finding the solution over time. I find that when I sit with decision makers and I say, you know, what we want to do here is the thing that has brought you success in your personal life, but we want to do it in your organization, they tend to say, oh, that makes sense. So those are two strategies. Construct the problem, find the person with the itch, and tell them that this is not that crazy and that they can actually do it. Those are two ideas. I'd love to hear anything else from any of you out there. Thanks.